Just last week, in the sandy hills of southern Syria, gunshots echoed through ancient villages as two groups fought each other with deadly force. At least 350 people were killed in the violence, including at least 27 who were executed. Bodies lay scattered in the streets. Families ran for their lives. Children cried as their homes burned to the ground. And it is happening right now between two groups of people who have been enemies for decades, the Bedouin tribes and the Druze people. But the truth is, this fight has been going on for many years. In fact, people have been dying in these conflicts for over 20 years. In 2000, severe clashes took place between Bedouins and Druze in Sweida, which developed into separate battles that resulted in dozens of deaths and injuries on both sides. Each time the fighting stops, it starts again. Each time more people die. Each time the hatred grows stronger. So who are the Bedouin people? Think of them as the cowboys of the desert. For thousands of years, they have lived as nomads, moving from place to place with their camels, goats, and sheep. They live in tents and follow the rain and grass for their animals. The Bedouins are proud warriors who value honor above everything else. They have their own laws and their own ways of solving problems. Most Bedouins follow the Sunni branch of Islam, which is the most common type of Islam in the world. The Bedouin tribes are like big families that can have thousands of members. They are spread across many countries, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Syria, and other Middle Eastern nations. In Syria, where most of the recent fighting happened, the Bedouin tribes have lived in the desert areas for centuries. They know how to survive in the harsh desert where water is rare and the sun burns everything during the day. But what makes Bedouins different from other people is their way of life. They do not like to be controlled by governments. They want to make their own decisions and follow their own traditions. They believe in taking revenge when someone hurts their family or tribe. This idea of revenge is very important to them. If someone from another group kills a Bedouin, the whole tribe will want to get back at that group. Now, let us talk about the Druze people. The Druze are very different from the Bedouins. They are not nomads who move around the desert. Instead, they live in permanent towns and villages, mostly in the mountains of Syria, Lebanon and Israel. Most of the other Druze live in Lebanon and Israel, including in the Golan Heights, which Israel captured from Syria in the 1967 Mideast War and annexed in 1981. The Druze follow a secret religion that started about 1,000 years ago. Their religion is so secret that most Druze people do not even know all the details about it. Only special religious leaders called sheikhs know the full truth about their beliefs. The Druze religion has parts of Islam, Christianity, and other ancient religions mixed together. This makes other religious groups suspicious of them. One important thing about the Druze is that they are very loyal to each other. They will always help other Druze people, no matter where they live. They also have a tradition of being good fighters. Many Druze men serve in armies and police forces. They are known for being tough and never giving up in battle. The Druze also have a very different way of thinking about land compared to the Bedouins. While Bedouins move around and think the whole desert belongs to everyone, the Druze believe strongly in owning specific pieces of land. They build permanent houses and farms and consider this land to belong to their families forever. So why do these two groups fight each other? The answer is complicated, but it comes down to several main reasons. First, they compete for the same land and resources. Both groups want to control the same areas in southern Syria. The Bedouins want to use the land for grazing their animals and setting up camps. The Druze want to use the same land for their farms and villages. Second, they have very different religions and cultures. The Bedouins are Sunni Muslims who follow traditional Islamic rules. The Druze follow their mysterious secret religion. Throughout history, people with different religions have often been suspicious of each other and sometimes fought wars over these differences. Third, there is the matter of honor and revenge. Both groups have very strong ideas about honour. When someone from one group hurts or kills someone from the other group, it creates a blood debt that must be paid back. This cycle of revenge can go on for generations. The recent fighting started over something that might seem small to outsiders, but was huge to these communities. Clashes began Sunday between Druze militias and local Sunni Muslim Bedouin tribes. What happened was that some Bedouin tribesmen allegedly attacked and killed Druze civilians. The Druze community demanded justice, but they felt the government was not doing enough to punish the attackers. As the anger built up, both sides started gathering weapons and calling for their fighters. Soon, what started as an argument became a full battle. The conflict between the Bedouin armed tribes and the Druze militia in Syria's southern district of Sweida has resulted in the deaths of hundreds over 4 days. But this recent fighting is just the latest chapter in a much longer story. These two groups have been fighting on and off for many years. Every few years something happens that sparks new violence. Someone gets killed, someone steals livestock, or someone disrespects the other group. Then the fighting starts all over again. The problem is made worse by the fact that Syria has been in a civil war for many years. The government is weak and cannot always control what happens in remote areas. This gives both the Bedouins and Druze more freedom to fight each other without interference. Syrian armed forces entered the Druze majority governorate of Sweida for the first time on July 15th, prompting severe clashes with Druze militias that have long resisted state control. When the Syrian government finally did try to step in and stop the recent fighting, things got even worse. The government forces seemed to take the side of the Bedouins against the Druze. This made the Druze people very angry. They felt betrayed by their own government. The fighting killed hundreds of people over 4 days, with allegations that government-affiliated fighters executed Druze civilians and looted and burned homes. The situation became so bad that even other countries got involved. Israel, which has many Druze citizens of its own, was worried about the Druze people being killed in Syria. So Israel decided to launch airstrikes against Syrian government forces to protect the Druze. This was very unusual, and some people believe it was unnecessary to start bombing another country just because Israel and Syria are enemies. The fighting has created terrible suffering for ordinary people caught in the middle. Families have been torn apart. Children have watched their parents die. Homes that took years to build have been destroyed in minutes. People who were neighbours and sometimes even friends have become deadly enemies. But perhaps the most tragic part of this conflict is how it has poisoned relationships between communities. Before the fighting, there were some Bedouins and Druze who got along well. They did business together, and some even became friends. But now, years of violence have created so much hatred that it may take generations to heal. The cycle of revenge has become stronger with each round of fighting. When a Bedouin is killed, his tribe feels honour-bound to kill Druze people in return. When Druze people are killed, their community wants to strike back at Bedouins. Each attack creates more enemies and guarantees that more violence will happen in the future. Young people who have grown up seeing this violence may find it impossible to imagine peace with the other side. Children who have lost parents or siblings in the fighting will carry that pain and anger with them for the rest of their lives. This means the conflict could continue for many more years to come. The international community has tried to help stop the violence, but with limited success. The United Nations and other organizations have called for peace and sent humanitarian aid to help the victims. But they cannot force the two sides to stop fighting if they do not want to. Some peace activists from both communities have tried to build bridges between Bedouins and Druze. They organize meetings where people from both sides can talk to each other and try to understand each other's point of view. But these efforts are dangerous because extremists on both sides see any cooperation with the enemy as betrayal. The Syrian government says it wants peace between the communities, But many people do not trust the government. They remember how government forces seem to take sides in the recent fighting instead of being neutral peacekeepers. Without a strong and fair government, it is very hard to stop groups from fighting each other. The Bedouin and Druze conflict may seem like just another Middle Eastern dispute to people far away. But for the thousands of people living in southern Syria, it is a matter of life and death. Until both sides can find a way to break the cycle of revenge and build trust, the fighting will likely continue, and more innocent people will die in this ancient and bitter feud between the desert nomads and the mountain dwellers of the Middle East.